What's up guys, Cryptomindd here and welcome to a new video in this advanced playlist. As for now, by now you know that my strategy in general is based on few core principles. Market behavior, support and resistance, and market structure. That's about it. And however, it's easier said than done. Trading is always easier said than done. However, we have to realize when we trade, we have a lot of thoughts going through our mind, a lot of emotions going through our body and mind as well. So there's a lot of psychology and emotions in trading. Let me write that down. And emotions. Psychology and emotions in trading. And a lot of people only focus on the technical part, but in reality, the psychology and emotions of your trading is 90% of your trading, if not 95%. Because most of the people do not fuck up by having a lack of technical knowledge, because in general, guys, the technical knowledge is very easy to understand. What most people do struggle with is the psychology and the emotions behind themselves. Guys, I want you to know that I do not prepare a script or whatever. I just freestyle what comes into my mind and mostly talking about experience, because what I experience, other people who are very successful in this space experience that. You will experience it. Everybody is eventually experiencing the same type of psychological and emotional troubles and limitations, to say so. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Again, you can find a lot of very good performance coaches and psychological coaches in trading on YouTube. I'm not an expert. That's not my field. I'm not a psychologist or performance coach. I'm just here to tell you the truth. There are people out there who can really explain to you how your own brain is working and really make you realize more. But this is already a first step for you to have that understanding. Because again, guys, most people fuck up because of this right here. Not because of this, not because of the technical skill, because in general, and a lot of beginners mostly gonna know this, or even advanced people, you enter a trade, suddenly your stop loss gets hit, and then boom, your target eventually will get hit after. So meaning that overall your technical skill is good, but there's most likely something wrong with your psychology towards, or your psychological behavior towards making an entry in trading. Again, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but psychology and emotions go very far. They go from fear and greed, which is most likely the most known thing in crypto, fear and greed. Because every time we have fear, a lot of fear in the market tends to revert back to the upside. Every time we have a lot of greed in the market, meaning bull run tops, then the market starts to reverse to the downside. Then we have as well emotional discipline. I will handle all of them when I wrote them down. What else do we have? We have overtrading. That's actually a good one. Most of the people do this. Overtrading. Oops. What else can we have? Not handling a loss, for example. Something that I experienced today with someone that sent me a private DM. So, handling a loss. What else? What else do we have in here? Patience, which actually then can correlate with overtrading. Patience. We have risk management, but I mean, I'm not gonna include this in here, otherwise it will get too much. We have stress. Stress is actually a good one. What else? Confidence. Confidence, we could more say that goes towards the fear and greed in towards the fear and greed factor right here. We have your personal life, actually. Yes, this is probably a very good one to talk about. Personal life. And I would say that's about it. I think those are already good ones to talk about in this video. This video, I have no idea how long this video will take, because again, I do not script my videos down to the minute and this and that. I just handle everything one by one. I don't care if the video is 2 hours or 30 minutes or 5 minutes. I'll make sure I handled everything that you need to know. So let's first talk about the fear and greed, because this is the most known factor in crypto, and as well we even have an index on there which a lot of people actually base their decisions on, which for some might work, for some might not, I don't know. But here's the thing. Fear and greed are killers, guys, and definitely as for investing, as for trading, fear and greed are a killer. Fear could be fear of entry, fear of missing out, so basically FOMO. Greed could be not taking profits. Greed could also be, as was standing here, leading to overconfidence, and overtrading eventually. So there's a lot going on in general. Believe me, there's a lot more than just these two, but these are just a few core examples. Fear and greed will always be your enemy, guys, and I do not want you to lose your money. I want you to be fully aware of what's going on in your own mind, because it's a very important thing. Whenever you are trading, you will experience fear and greed at the same time. You're going to experience, for example, the fear of entry, but you overcome the fear of entry, you enter the trade, and eventually what will happen is not taking profits. And if you do take profits, over time you'll start to become overconfident, which will lead to overtrading. And that reflects back on greed. So they are both the same. They are like yin and yang, but in a very negative way. Be aware of your fear and greed. And my biggest tip for you is to journal everything down, from your fear and greed to your stress, emotional discipline, everything related to trading and your emotional journal it down. It will help you tremendously to become fully aware of your own behavior during trading. Then we have stress. Stress could be everything. The stress during a trade, before a trade, in your personal life that can reflect. Stress can be as well a killer. I would suggest you, if you are stressed about a trade or entering a trade, is because your money that you are using is too high. You are not comfortable. Let me write that down. Not comfortable with the risk. You are just not comfortable with the risk at all. Your money, your input of your trade is too high, and that's why you get so stressed. And honestly, I speak about experience myself here, because I remember the last time that I went a little bit too deep into a trade was like a little while ago, I think around 1.5 years ago. I went a little bit too deep in a trade, and I remember just walking around stressed as fuck for a few days, because I was like, if this trade goes to this, I could make that, but if my stop loss hit, I would feel super bad, because it's not worth losing or risking that amount of money to only make that. I could do this with a bigger capital and lower leverage, But I fucked up for myself, and guess what? Eventually I end up losing a lot more money that I wanted to lose, I was comfortable with losing. And so that's that. And believe me, guys, that does bring a lot of stress to you, not being comfortable with a certain risk. You have to know it's not about the money, it's about the skill, it's about the compound profits. That's what the goal is. Your goal is not to hit always a home run. Your goal is sometimes to take a home run, but score normal points along the way. Now, continuing to emotional discipline. A little typo here. Emotional discipline. Emotional discipline is important, guys, because this, again, everything in here reflects to each other in some sort of way. And they are eventually all just variations of each other. Emotional discipline is important, not only in trading, but just in normal life as well. You need to have emotional discipline no matter how you feel, no matter what you think, no matter what is going on. If you are working towards your goals, if you are interested and hungry to achieve a better life, you need emotional discipline. So in trading, you need that as well, because it could be that you suddenly are on a losing streak of, let's say, 5 or 6 trades in a row that you lost. And this is where your emotional discipline will be shown. Are you resilient? I think it's that resilient. Yeah, are you resilient enough to continue? Are you dedicated enough to continue? Are you disciplined enough to continue? Because that's the main goal. Don't forget, the goal of the market, let me write this down as well. The goal of the market is to make you leave. That's basically the goal of the market, guys. The market wants you to lose. They want you to fucking lose. And this goes back to what I said before. Take profits. Taking profits. Resistance and support zones. Very important, because that's a way to minimize your losses. It's a way to minimize your losses. But the market in general wants you to fucking lose. They want you to leave the markets so they can take all the money. And this is where emotional discipline again comes into play. By understanding that, okay, the market wants me to lose, I have to be disciplined enough to focus on my mistakes. That's why, again, let me write this down. A separate journal everything down. Let me go back to this in a second. It is so important to be disciplined when you are on a losing streak and be aware of your of your mistakes, because that's where discipline comes into play. And then we can actually correlate in a very interesting way to journaling. Right here. We can journal everything down. So meaning with everything, guys, I mean everything. Entry. Why entry? Why take profit /zone? So why did you take profit at that support, certain support or resistance? Emotions before entry, thoughts before. Well, not only before, after. And here as well, after entry, thoughts during trade. Everything that crosses your mind from emotions to technical, you place it down. Why did you enter your trade? Was it on an emotional based factor? Was it on something logical? What was the reason behind it? Everything you have to write down. Everything, because over time you're gonna have a lot of papers with, let's say you trade 4 times a month or 10 times, whatever the fuck it is, I don't care. You trade an X amount of times per month, and out of those X amount of times, normally before journaling, you have, let's say, only 3 wins, right? But suddenly, as you start to journal, and you continue, and you read back in your journal eventually, you're going to become very aware of your losses. You're going to become much more aware in reality as well before entering a trade. And eventually you're going to understand, oh, I made the same mistake before. Let me look back at this trade. Let me look back in my journal. You're going to say, oh, well, this is very similar to what's going on right now. Maybe I should not take the trade. Then what you could do is do a paper trade and see how it would still play out. And believe me, guys, most likely when you then use that paper trade, so meaning you just use your trading tool and you just follow along with TradingView, seeing how it will go. And most likely, guys, as you journaled everything down and you start to know yourself better, you will see that that trade will still go into a loss, and you just avoided yourself another loss, and you understand why. And then for more advanced people, you could start to understand, okay, maybe I wanted to short here, but the market again went against me and into a long position. What is my mistake in terms of technicality? Maybe I'm looking at something wrong. And then maybe then the next time, as you are getting more and more aware, you're like, okay, hold up. I've seen this before. Last time, or the last 5 times that this happens, the market always reversed against me. I'm aware of my mistakes. Maybe I should go for a long position as I've learned about my mistakes. And there's a very high chance, guys, that you then will make profits out of that long position as you start to become aware of your own game plan more and more. And that's how you start to become a full emotional disciplined trader. Journaling is underrated. Let me write that down. Underrated. Guys, and I do not mean only in trading, journaling in life. Journaling your life, your thoughts, your emotion, what's going on in your head is something very important to become a more aware person. A lot of people underestimate and underrate the power of journaling. Journaling can really improve yourself as a human being, guys, because why? You have everything about yourself on paper. You just have to read it back and be like, holy shit, did I think like this? But why did I think like this? What could I better to not think about or think like this anymore? Journaling, guys. Journal, journal, journal. It will help you tremendously and improve. Moving on to the fucking next. Overtrading leads to stress, leads to fear and greed. What does overtrading mean? It's because you get too confident. You get overconfident. You become cocky. You become a little asshole. You're like, I'm a good trader. And let's say now in the best case scenario, 10 trades profitable in a row. Suddenly, the cockiness kicks in and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna place another trade, a bit of a bigger input, and money gone. That's mostly how it goes, guys, when you start to overtrade. You're gonna build up you would have built up yourself a very nice amount of profits, and then with the 11th trade, it's gone. You just became too cocky. You started to overtrade too much. You were trading just to make money and not following your game plan anymore. Very huge difference. You have your game plan that you only follow when the setup appears. Overtrading means that you go looking on every chart to find a setup that aligns with your game plan, and you try to take that trade. And you can do that for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tokens, and suddenly loss. All your build-up profits are gone. Overtrading is a fucking bitch. Do not do it. When you make money in trading, guess what, guys? If let's say you, what can I say? In a very simplistic way, in a very easy, very average way as well. Let's say you have $1,000. You put in your money into trade. Suddenly you make 20% on your trade, which is $200. Now, most people will say, with $200, I cannot do much. It's nothing. I can only fill my gas my car once or twice. Doesn't make any sense, guys. So you just made 20% on yourself. $200 indeed. It's not a lot, but for a lot of people, it's really a lot as well. Get it in your mind. Do not become too greedy and say, oh, it's only $200. No, bro. With that $200, you can pay certain bills that you do not have to take money out of your job. You could save that money to use later in the next trade. You could use it for so much more good, but you cannot become too greedy about it. If you only make $200, well, that's great, guys. With $200, you can do something. You can go for a dinner that's paid by yourself. You didn't have to do physical work for it. You could gas your car. You could pay some bills. You can do so much with it. You could just save it and use for a next trade, but do not, after you make some profits, go look for a new trade. It doesn't make any sense. Just leave the market after you are done. Let me write it down. Leave the market for a day or so and enjoy your profits, or get your mental game back healthy. Because a lot of people are like, yeah, but my mental game is good after this profit. But guys, you basically just risk money that, okay, you were maybe comfortable with losing, but you just risked money. You had for sure still some stress somewhere, somehow. I know all traders, when they trade, they have some sort of stress that goes along with their psychology, and that's all right. But just leave the markets once you made some profits. Let's say you made 1 or 2 profits in a row. Just leave the markets for a little bit, enjoy your profits, just save them, just chill a little bit, get your mind relaxed, and you will feel so much better for your next setups. Trading or day trading doesn't mean that you have to trade every day. Do not forget. Patience, something most people do not have, unfortunately. Most do not have patience. And patience is a real thing, guys. Now, with day trading, or in general, trading on lower time frame, you do not need that much of patience. But once you get into more swing trading type of style, and that your trades take a few days to play out, or even a few weeks or months, guys. Guys, there are trades that I'm in that I'm already holding for like 4 months. Like, it takes a lot of patience, and sometimes you want to take the money out and you go through fluctuations in the market where prices go down heavily and you're like, maybe I should take profits. But this is all about having your game plan in the correct way. Patience is very important, guys. If you do not have patience for your trades to play out, you will miss out on a lot of profits, and I've been there in my past days as well. I was in a trade, for example, and I had this lot, and I didn't do it wrong because I still made money, and there's no losing in making money. But I missed out on a lot more money because I was not patient enough. I always had that thing, like I said before, of support and resistance zones are made to take profit. So what I would do, I would always have like 3 or 4 take profit zones. And eventually, as soon as my first take profit zone hits, I just leave the market and just close my trade, even though I had 4 take profit zones. And eventually, yeah, I was making money. Yeah, my profits were compounding. But if I looked back at everything, most of the times my second, third, or fourth take profit would have been hit as well. If I adjusted my game plan a little bit better, act accordingly, I would have a lot more profits at the end of a year, for example. I would have been so much more profitable. Instead of smaller compound profits, my profits would have still been relatively small, but they would be compounding more. But again, that can as well lead back to greed. So it depends a little bit on your perspective on how you see things, but have patience to let your trades play out. If you have, like I said before in the former example, with the support and resistance zones, if your first take profit or your second take profits gets hit and you place your stop loss to break even, you are already basically risk-free. So you cannot lose any money anymore. Worst case is that you don't make any profits at all, that you just end up break even again. Best case is that you just close out with some partial profits or full take profit hit. But you need to have a lot of patience for certain trades to play out. They will not play out in 1 day, 2 days, 1 hour, 2 hours. It will take a little while for some trades to play out. And if you have your game plan accordingly to placing stop loss to break even or stop loss to take profit zone 1, whatever it is, it will be rewarding. It will be a lot more rewarding and you will make a lot more money. Okay, moving on to the next. As we are getting to a 30-minute video already, it's crazy. Handling a loss. Here's the thing, guys. Everybody wants money. Nobody wants to lose. And that's the true thing. Nobody likes to lose, but guess what? Losses are a part of life, and we all will lose. If it's not on trading, it will be in love, it will be in health. It can always be something, guys, that will fuck you up. So handling a loss in trading kind of sucks. So that's why I go back to the thing of become comfortable with the risk that you take. Because handling a loss is a lot of stress. I've been, like I said myself, when I lost that amount of money that I was not comfortable with losing, I was in a lot of stress. I was like, oh fuck, this has such a bigger impact on me than I expected. So handling a loss, guys, is first of all, to avoid it, you should be comfortable with the risk that you are taking. Like really, say to yourself, let's say, basic example again, you have $1,000 and say to yourself, before you think about the profits, think about, okay, I'm now planning to risk, let's say, in a big, wide perspective, 20%, which is $200, which is actually a lot in terms of trading. So you are risking 20% to make, let's say, 100%, right? You have to ask yourself, am I willed to lose 20% of my portfolio, of my money? Because 20% is actually a lot. Or would I be more comfortable with only losing 7% or 5%? And if the answer to your question is I'm more comfortable with losing 5 or 7%, you should lower your money. Yes, your profits will be less as well, but at least you do not have the stress if you end up losing. And yes, if your profit is a little bit less, let's say your profit would have been 100%, and instead of 1,000, suddenly your profit is only 600. It's still fucking great. You still doubled your money. It's a little bit less, yes, but at least you were comfortable with the risk. Trading is not about being comfortable with the money that you can make. It's about being comfortable with what you can lose. So many people confuse it, because I hear so many people say when they enter a trade, oh, when my take profit hits, I could make 5K. Bro, but what could you lose if your stop loss hits? What if you don't place a stop loss and you get liquidated? What then? Exactly. Think a little bit, motherfucker. It's important. Then the personal life, guys. This is a very big thing. And I'm a little bit in this stage right now of I'm not ashamed to say this, but in a quote unquote more difficult stage of my personal life. I went through some bullshit the last few months, which affected me a lot more than it should have. And only coming back right now again to the game, guys. I've been out for 5 months or 6 months at this point speaking of trading, because my mental health, my personal life was not good. I had too much stress going on into my personal life, which would lead to overtrading, not having patience, not having emotional discipline, and eventually what would happen is I would fuck up. I would lose so much money. I could not imagine me being on the charts trading while my mind is unclear and focus on something else and then be like, let me just try to make money and lose and even fuck up my mental health even more. So very important, guys. If you have problems, let's write this down. If you have problems in personal life, do not trade, leave the markets and get your mental health in order. This is so important, guys. I'm really an advocate for mental health for everybody. I want everybody to be mentally healthy. I want everybody to be physically healthy. I want everybody as well to be rich. Fortunately, it doesn't always work like that. Life is hard. Life is really a pain in the ass, and that's what I've learned as well in the past few months or so. That life can just hit you from every corner, can give you an uppercut, you stand up and suddenly you get another overhook right hand, and then suddenly you get knocked out again, but you stand up and then another punch in your face, and so on and so on. I've been there. I'm in that stage right now. I'm not ashamed to say that. I as well have my problems. Everybody has their fucking problems. Some are afraid to talk about it, some are not, and definitely on the internet, but I'm not. I really need you guys to understand that when you have when you have problems in your personal life, make sure that everything in that aspect is sorted, so your mental health is in the right order, and then you can go back to trading and feel a lot more better, and you will not have all this bullshit right here of losing and feeling more miserable. All right, guys, this is roughly a 30-minute video now. The last part that I want to talk about, it's 90% of your trading. I already kind of explained this, but most people are so focused on understanding the technical part and understanding every candle out there and what does this wick mean and liquidity and so many things, guys. And again, this overthinking of the need of understanding this and that comes as well down to your psychology and emotions. Everything is based on core principles, in my opinion, when it comes down to trading. It is all core principles and logical thinking, but logical thinking nowadays for a lot of people is very difficult. A lot of people have a hard time having logical resonations. Woof, difficult word. And I don't even know if I pronounce it right either. But a lot of people are not thinking logical at all. And in trading, you need a lot of logic. Trading is about logic, understanding yourself, understanding how to react on yourself. And this, you can find the logic in there, but the rest of the logic goes on in your mind. How do you handle certain things? Are you aware of it? And then again, guys, this comes all down to this. Journal everything down. Alright, guys, for my part, that's about it for this video. It's 31 minutes long. I'm sure most of the people will not even watch it till where I am at this point speaking at 31 minutes and 50 seconds, but that's alright. Don't forget that there are a lot of psychology coaches and performance coaches out there who can make you very aware of what I said in here, but in a better jacket, in a lot more expanded way. And probably you will be a lot more aware as well, because they will go into every subject. They will go into detail with that. They will analyze you if you at least start to decide to work with a performance coach or a psychological coach for trading. They will analyze you in full. But again, guys, it's up to you to become fully aware of yourself. All right, guys, see you in the next video.